We're still talking about how businesses respond to the market demand, which means whatever happens in that market, businesses must ensure that they try to make amendments, they try to find out, they find a way around it, so that they don't let their business or their customers down. So, for the approaching to staff, we talk about some firms seeing their staff or their workers as cost. Some firms seeing their workers as an asset. So it depends on the kind of approach they use. But today, the topic is about flexible workforce. And when we talk about a flexible workforce, we're talking about the kind of workforce that can respond to change in terms of quantity and time when there's a need for changes. So look at what I wrote here. Flexible workforce. This is the kind of workforce that can respond to quantity and time, to changes in market demand. So these are workers that are needed at any point in time, and they will be there. So if the business needs them, they are always there. That is what we mean by flexible workforce.
What do you mean by that?
The type of job they want to do. Whatever type of job they have is available for them, they will be there to do it. That's what type is. So here, there are different methods businesses use to get flexibility of workforce. So here I wrote methods of increasing the workforce flexibility. So businesses need to be flexible. And to become flexible, what do they need? They need flexible workforce. They need flexible employees. And to get them, or how to get such employees, number one, multi-skilling. When I talk about multi-skilling, I wrote, this is the process of enhancing the skills of employees. Businesses may improve their productivity by giving more responsibility to workforce. You enhance the skills of their employees. How do you enhance their skills? Give them more responsibility. When you give them more responsibility, they'll have, so whenever they have anything to do, they know how to get it done. But when you don't give your workforce, when you don't give your employees more responsibility to do, they will not be able to explore. For them to explore, you need to give them new things, you need to give them more responsibility. By doing this, you are enhancing their skills and they become multi-skilled. That is about multi-skilling. What I'm saying in businesses is, businesses try to give more responsibility to workforce. But by giving more responsibility to workforce, it allows them to know more things. It allows them to be more dedicated to their job. And because of being dedicated to their job, it improves their skill and they become multi-skilled. That's the first way of improving more flexibility of workforce. The second one, part-time and temporary staff. Sometimes businesses would need flexible workforce because there's a need in the market that they quickly need to fix. As a result, they don't need to employ permanent workers, they only need part-time workers. Who are part-time workers? According to the Economic and Labour Review, part-time workers are workers that are working less than 30 hours. They work less than 30 hours. Except if the contract they have is saying otherwise. If not, they are part-time workers. So businesses might need to respond to changes in market demand by employing part-time workers instead of employing full-time workers. Then we have the temporary staff. When we talk about temporary staff, we're talking about workers that are employed for a limited period of time. Maybe just for 1 week, just for 2 weeks. After that, they have to go. These are temporary staff. So for part-time workers or temporary staff, businesses might need them to quickly put across things that need to be done in the market. Maybe there's more demand for their products, and the workers they have cannot provide those products or are not sufficient to provide or to produce those products. They employ temporary staff or limited worker, or temporary staff or part-time worker. The third one, okay, I told you about temporary staff already. These are workers that are employed for a limited period of time. They're just going to be at work. They are not permanent workers. They're just going to be there for a period of time. After what they are there for is done, they are gone. Then we have the 0-hour contracts. When we talk about 0-hour contracts, here they are more like casual workers. What do? Employers will call them whenever they need them. They are not attached to the company. They don't have any contractual agreement with the company. So it is only when the employer needs them, they call them. But whenever the employer calls them, if they are not available, they are not available. It is not compulsory for them. Whenever the employer calls them to come, they come. No, it's not compulsory. So if they are available, they will come. But if they don't have a job, it's not the duty of the employer to find them a job. Listen about 0 hours contracts. here, the worker or the employee is not attached contract, it doesn't have any contract with the employer. So whenever the employer needs them, he calls them, the employer calls them. But if the employer calls them and they don't have time, they don't have time. If they have time, the employer calls them, they come to the job. If they don't have a job, it is not the responsibility of their employer to find them a job. Do you understand 0-hour contract here? There are 3 things here. First, the employers will call them whenever the employers have a job for them. 2, whenever the employer calls them, it is not compulsory for them to say yes. They might say no. And the last one is for 0-hour contract. Whenever they are free, they don't have a job, it is not the responsibility of the employers to find them a job. That is 0 hours contract. Then the 4th one, flexible hours and home workers. Businesses can also make flexibility for their workforce by allowing them to work at their own time, maybe at home. So some workers, they have transportational problem that it takes them a lot of time before they get to workplace. And their job, they can do it remotely. As a result, businesses will provide them that flexibility to be able to work at home so that they can give their best. And for home workers, I explained already. Then the next one, outsourcing. When we talk about outsourcing, it's another method businesses can use to gain flexibility or to improve their flexibility. What is outsourcing? Outsourcing means the job we do here, some of the job we do here, we're giving it out to some other company to get them done. For example, maybe the human resources department will recruit workers. So instead of us recruiting the workers, we might give that job to a firm that knows more about human resources. That is outsourcing. So that gives them flexibility to do the job well than us. Because that is their own experts. That is their own job. That is their own specialty to employ workers. So we, as a company, we employ workers. But now we are outsourcing it to a company that does it better. That is outsourcing. So that also gives flexibility. Another way when we talk about flexibility is maybe you have a lot of production. You need to produce product A, product B, product C. And you feel you cannot produce product A, product B, product C at the same time. You can give product C to another company to produce it so that you can meet up with the time of your customers. That is outsourcing. Is it clear?
Yes.
Then what are the advantages of having a flexible workforce? Number 1, businesses are able to expand and contract quickly in response to market demand. The first advantage is that it allows business to expand. In terms of if they need more workers, they can quickly get because they have enough part-time workers. They have enough peripheral workers. That means they can expand as soon as possible. And if they don't need work, if they don't have a lot of production, they can tell them to go. That is expanding and contracting. Do you understand that? So when you have more workforce that are flexible, when you need them, they are there. When you don't need them, they are gone. 2, for specialist jobs, they become economical to employ. For there are some jobs that you need specialist workers to do, just for a few period of time. You cannot employ them permanently because they only have to do that specific job and that's all. As a result, it is important for you to get a specialist worker to get that job done. So as soon as the job is done, the specific job is done, he or she can go. It reduces the amount of money you spend on salary. The third one, they are cheaper to employ than permanent staff in some cases. Part-time workers, they take less money than full-time workers, so they are cheap. The last one, about the advantages. Businesses are able to pass the cost of training to outsourcing companies. You know, we talk about outsourcing here, giving other businesses the job to do. So if the outsourcing company will be the one to train their workers, not the company anymore, because you are giving the job to them. So they will be the one, I just stop that please. You will be the one, the outsourcing company will be the one to train them, not you. Because you have outsourced the job to them. If those workers are still with you, you have to train them, yes or no? But now, you are giving the job out to another company. So that company will train those workers. So it reduces your cost of training. You have passed the training cost to the outsourcing company. What about the problems about flexible workforce? Number 1, using peripheral workforce may bring disloyalty. as those workers will have loyalty to the employers that give them permanent job. When you have a part-time worker, he has a full-time job somewhere else. He will be loyal to that company than your company. He might put more effort in that company that he has more time to spend than your company. Yes or no? Yes. So that is the problem about flexible workforce. Number two, some temporary employers may be qualified, excellent, but might find difficulty in holding a permanent job. Some people are working as part-time workers, not because they are not excellent, not because they are not qualified, but they have a problem to keep a job. They don't want to stay in a place. And that becomes a problem for your company. They are qualified, they know the job, they know how to do the job, but they find it difficult to stay in a particular job. That is why they become part-time workers. And that's a bad attitude. Do you understand? The third one, communication can be a problem. As employees might not be available whenever the employers need them.
This is talking about the 0-hour contract.
What happens to 0-hour contract?
This is talking about the strategies for 0-hour contract.
Yes. It is a 0-hour contract. It could be. Because when you talk about 0-hour contract, if they don't have a job for you, there's nothing you could do. So whenever they call you, you might not do the job well. Do you understand? Whenever they call you, you might not do the job well. Because you don't have emotional attachment to them. You are not emotionally attached to that company. It's only when they need you, they call you. Do you get it?
Yes.
And the last one is communication. Because they are not permanent workers, you might need them at any point in time and they are not there. Do you get the point? They are not working here. So you call them when you need them. But maybe when you call them, they are not available. That could affect your job. So these are the problems about flexible workforce. And these are the advantages about flexible workforce. Which means one, as flexible workforce, you can contract and expand at any point in time. If the market demands you to contract, you contract. If the market demands you to expand, you expand. Two, the specialty jobs are becoming economical. It's easy for you to employ them because when you employ temporary workers, you don't pay so much. It means you are economical. You are not spending so much because you only call them when you need them and you pay them when they work for you. You won't pay them if they are not working. That's what economical means here. You pay them when they work. You don't pay them when they don't work. But if they are full-time workers, they work but they don't work, they get paid. Do we understand? Any question about this?